America today made history with the inauguration of its 45th president, Mr. Donald Trump, in front of thousands of supporters in Washington, D.C. Mr. Trump, in his strong speech, reiterated his popular campaign phrase, "We will make America great again." How does this impact the rest of the world? What does it mean to the American people? Data feeds still coming through in one place, simultaneously on all our social media platforms, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsbell. You can follow us right now on m.channelstv.com. If you're on the go on your mobile, we've got all our platforms and social media covered. Be part of the show and tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation to air your thoughts on the subject. We've got more. President Muhammadu Buhari begins his vacation for the year. He is expected to undergo routine medical checks and evaluations and will resume in early February. We'll be speaking on this to his media aide in an exclusive interview on the show. And this and more we're going to be having in just a moment. Also, Yahya Jammeh has agreed to step down. It's a breaking story as president of the Gambia, in a dramatic move after pressures from regional bloc ECOWAS heads of states persuading him to relinquish power to the winner of the presidential elections in that country, Adama Barrow. We're going to look at that as well. It's prime time in Lagos, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. Moments ago, the world witnessed the inauguration of America's 45th president, Mr. Donald Trump, in front of hundreds of thousands of his supporters and also some others who were not in support of a Donald Trump presidency in the American state. The president categorically implied that America will be first in its dealings on a range of issues. Let's take a listen to an extract of the American 45th president's speech earlier.
Today, we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you. It belongs to everyone gathered here today and everyone watching all across America. This is your day, this is your celebration, and this, the United States of America, is your country.
Strong domestic speech by America's 45th president, Mr. Donald Trump. It seems a moment of truth for many countries allied to the American government and also those who are not allied to them. Let's take a talk with the presidential media aide to Nigeria's President Garba Shehu. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on the show at this time. You heard pretty much what Mr. Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, said in that speech. Do you believe that Mr. Donald Trump believes that, do you believe that he's a dangerous man as being perceived in some of his non-allied countries?
Well, we here in Nigeria, we can't decide for the Americans what Mr. Donald Trump would mean, what he would do for them. They have chosen a leader for their country. He has the mandate to govern the country for 4 years. It's entirely their own decision, and this is a matter they have to live with. I believe that the policy of this country, as much as possible, is not to interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. So Mr. Donald can decide to do whatever he wants. That's their own country.
Okay, let's narrow it down now to what it means to Nigeria. What does the Donald Trump presidency mean for us?
Well, if you insist that I speculate on this, I would say that there's something to watch from this speech. This thing about America first, buy American, consume American, and everything America first, whether immigration or international relations. I think it points at the history. And I think that the world, the entire, will be interested to see how this unfolds.
Let me take it from your mouth now, those words from your mouth. America first in just about every other sector that they will be dealing with any other country in terms of foreign relations. Let's look at the Nigerian context now, as you just said, taken away from that speech. We have been preaching made in Nigeria goods by Nigerians for Nigeria. How is this much of an influence to the future of Nigeria's internal consumption of your products?
Well, Nigerians would be right also to preach for the consumption of their own products, and it's a key policy of the administration, especially in a situation we're now in where there's this huge dollar crisis. We're unable to import whatever it is that we want. I think the sense we have of the responsibility as a nation that we have, we are big, we are rich in the context of where we live in Africa. There is a sense that we have a responsibility to our neighbors, to the rest of the black race. We, as Nigerians, will not be proud of ourselves if our neighbors are in crisis, as we've just seen, from the Gambian situation that we have helped to resolve. We live for ourselves and for our neighbors. America is too important a country, in my opinion, to pursue an isolationist kind of policy. I believe that, but they say the taste of the pudding is in the eating. When he gets down to work, probably the reality on the ground would cause a lot of changes, we would be saying. The rhetoric might disappear at some point.
Okay, let's talk more of a breaking story that we just get into the front desk now. As a matter of fact, Yahya Jammeh has agreed to step down as president of the Gambia to allow Adama Barrow to become to assume his presidency and his office in the country in Banjul. We're getting information now that a lot of things seem to be in the mix at this point. But Nigeria did deploy about 200 soldiers to that country, and also Nigeria's NNS Unity was also deployed in the waterways to try to enforce the ECOWAS agreement to get Yahya Jammeh to step down. What's next now?
Well, the primary responsibility of our government is to our citizens, obviously, in the Gambia, to ensure safety in case of the need for evacuation. It must also have served to intimidate in a way, to show the seriousness of the ECOWAS, sub-region to Mr. Jammeh, that this is no joke. And I think that it is good for this country, it is good for West Africa that this is. What next is to see how Mr. Barrow unfolds his own policies, how he reconciles his own country. And we don't know, as it is at the moment, we don't know whether his acceptance to go out, Jammeh's acceptance to go on exile, is to Nigeria, which had offered residency to him in the event that he decides to come here and be with us.
Those are indeed pictures of Yahya Jammeh. Now he has agreed to actually step down after so much pressure. by ECOWAS and the presidents from that sub-region, talking about Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia, and a host of other presidents who went on a peace meeting to Banjul in the Gambia to have a discussion with that very man you've seen in the picture now. He's agreed to step down as the president of the Gambia. It's a developing story. We're following up on it. I will have it much later as we continue in our programming. But let's talk about Nigeria's president, our commander-in-chief now. He's gone on a leave. He did write a letter to the Senate saying that he was going to continue on his leave for this year. Tell us more about that leave that he's going on, because we have reports that he's going to be having medical and other checks on him. Tell us more about that.
It's a routine vacation, and even before he came to office as a private citizen, General Muhammadu Buhari has had the practice of going out once in a year, have a rest, and do his medicals. This is no different. This is routine. He did it last year, and he's doing it this year. In the course of the vacation, he will, of course, get in touch with the doctors who have cared for him over the years, and be updated on his state of health. So it's a routine vacation, and while he's away, the vice president will be acting as president.